This is News with the Disney Dude. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel for more content, and hit that thumbs up if you like the video. Here now's the news for March 19th of 2025. Alright, we're going to start with a story that I'm going to rant about, okay? I'm going to rant about this. EPCOT has now revealed the name for their new adult-only lounge that replaced the Siemens Lounge right by Spaceship Earth. It is called Geo 82. All right. I'm going to stop and rant about this, okay? Actually, first I have two things, okay? One is, at first, Disney was like, you know, they came out and said that everyone is welcome to this lounge, and then they changed their minds, and then they changed their minds and said that this is now an adult-only lounge, okay? So that's problem number one I have with this, all right? Problem number two I have is the name. The name is terrible. The name is awful. I hate this name. Geo 82. Sounds awful. It sounds like an 80s game. All right? I get that, you know, it's Spaceship Earth. It's a geodesic sphere. Sphere, and the park opened in 1982, but come on, guys, I mean, are you kidding me? Geo 82, that is awful. That is a terrible name. I don't know whose idea it was to come up with this name, but they should have rethought that. They should have rethought that. That is a terrible name for a member lounge at EPCOT. You could have named it 50 different other things. You know, you could have named it the Horizons Lounge. Or you could have named it, I don't know, the Maelstrom Lounge. Or, or something, or the Robot Butler Lounge would have been great. But Geo 82, that is an awful name. That is just terrible. This is terrible. I think this decision's going to go down as probably one of the worst ideas that they've had at Walt Disney World. But this name is just terrible, you know. And then going back on what you said, you know, saying that this lounge was going to be, you know, for everybody, and then you're going to go back and say, I'm sorry, we meant to say that the lounge is for adults only. That's not good. That's not a good PR thing. That is awful. That is awful. I'm not mad that the lounge is adults only, you know, because everybody needs a break from, you know, kids, which I get. But that, I mean, if you wanted it to be an adult-only lounge in the first place, then that's what you should have said. That's what you should have said, instead of saying, you know, it's for families, and then a couple days later say, we're sorry, we meant to say it's an adult-only lounge. Okay? So that's problem number one I have. Okay? That was a disaster. That was a disaster. That was a disastrous move for them to do. And this name is just awful. Just terrible. Geo 82. Oh my God. That sounds like something you would find in a Pac-Man game. Okay? I hate this name. I hate this name. Could have named it so many other things, and that's what you chose. That's terrible. That's terrible. And I really hope that, Disney, if our videos come to them in any way, if they watch any of our videos, they need to take note of that. They need to take note of that, because that is the worst name I have ever heard for a lounge in my life. Good God. So, I'm sorry, but that is naming a lounge something like that. That is awful. That is awful. You should have renamed it. Disney has, but now on to our other stories. So Disney has now filed permits for electrical work and sets for Zootopia Better Together, the show that's replacing It's Tough to Be a Bug at Animal Kingdom. I don't need to go through that rant again. I've been through that rant too many times and I care to count. Much is the same with Muppet Vision 3D. But I'm going to continue to rant about Muppet Vision 3D because I think that was just an idiotic move. But anyway, so everybody, you guys know how I feel about, this show, okay? So I'm not going to get into that rant again, but at least they are continuing with this work, okay? And as much as it breaks my heart, I'm going to have to report on more of this. So, so expect more and more stuff to come out in the coming months. Because winter is really not, technically really not that far away. It's only 8 months away. So, it seems like a long time, but it's really not. Moving on to staying in Animal Kingdom, the Detroit Tigers have decided to visit Baby Boxo at Disney's Animal Kingdom. So, if you happen to be at EPCOT when they were there, that was a great thing. Of course, everything happens when I'm blocked out. When something exciting like this happens, of course, I'm blocked out. But it is nice that celebrities are paying a visit to Baby Boxo over at Disney's Animal Kingdom. All right, now moving over to the Magic Kingdom, the new member lounge at the Magic Kingdom that is replacing the Frontierland Shooting Arcade, called McKim's Mile House, is now open at the Magic Kingdom. So if this is a DVC lounge, so it's only available to DVC members. So if you are a DVC member, you can now go to McKim's Mile House at the Magic Kingdom. I have seen pictures. Obviously, I can't go in it because I'm not a DVC member, but I have seen pictures and such inside of the lounge. I think it's pretty well themed. I think they could have done a little bit better job theming it, but I think that they did a pretty good job theming this. All right. All right, on to our next story. First metallic paneling has now been installed on new test track overhang at EPCOT. So they are chugging along on this on this refurb. Again, opening this summer. We don't have an exact date yet, but it should be opening sometime this summer at EPCOT. Which, I mean, it's like, I know you want to open things in the summer because that's your one of your busy times. But if it's an outdoor ride, I mean, come on. We are in Florida. We are in Florida, by the way. It rains a ton in the summertime, okay? And of course it lightnings and thunders and, and the outside rides have to be shut down anyway, okay? So do we really need to open these rides in the summertime when they're not even going to run half the time anyway? So, I mean, I understand why they would want to do it, but come on. I mean, this is not California, okay? This is not California. This is not Tokyo. This is not Paris. This is not Shanghai, okay? This is Florida, okay? And Florida summers are awful. They are awful. They are brutally hot, okay? Like, I'm talking, like, you open up the door, either coming out of your house or coming out of your hotel, and that heat hits you right in the face. You're like, okay? So, and of course, it rains every day here, in the summertime, So, I mean, opening up a brand new outdoor ride in the summertime, I think is ridiculous. Come on. You really should know better than to open up an outdoor ride at Walt Disney World in the summertime. Okay? You should have, opened it either earlier or later. Again, I get that you want, enough, you want everybody and their mother to experience it in the summertime, but, I mean, come on. And then, of course, you're going to add that to a virtual queue, which no one's going to experience anyway. So, that's, so whoopee frickin' do, okay? But that's either here nor there, but, but I think that Disney should have done a little bit better job with their, with opening that up in the summertime. That's probably not going to work. We should have opened it in the fall, okay? But that's just my opinion. All right. Our next story is the Liberty Square brickwork is continuing, but it's pretty much almost completed at the Magic Kingdom. So I mean, it's nice that they are doing this work. Obviously these guest walkways get walked on, obviously 365 days a year, whether it's in the heat of the summertime or, the spring or the fall or the winter or whatever. So you have to keep things, especially walkways, you have to keep them, looking fresh. Okay? So I am glad that they are, I'm glad that they're working on it. They're working on this, because it's, you really need to. All right. Now we have a surprise construction update, okay? So, there's a dirt pile at the TTC parking. For those of you that aren't aware, you should, I don't know, but you should be aware, but the TTC is the Transportation and Ticket Center, and it's the parking lot for Magic Kingdom, okay? So, but there's now a dirt pile, that's now being kind of, getting, flatter and flatter and flatter at at the Transportation and Ticket Center at the Magic Kingdom. We don't really know what they're doing. We don't know if they're adding more parking, which I don't even know if you would even need at this point. I mean, I guess you could, but, you know, Magic Kingdom is one of the 4 biggest parking lots in the world. So I don't really know. You could fit Disneyland into that entire I think it's 2 Disneylands. You could fit into the park, both parking lots at the Magic Kingdom. So I mean, I don't really know why you would need more space. I guess you could just, you know, to be on the safe side. I don't know if it'd be overkill, but you know, but we don't really know. We don't really know what this entails, okay? But for those of you that don't know, the Magic Kingdom and EPCOT are 2 of the biggest parking lots in the world, okay? So, you know, so there's your fun fact for the day. I don't know what the other 2 are because I haven't researched it, but at least, you know, but at least that's a fun fact. All right, so our next story is some Communicore Hall floor decals have now been fixed at EPCOT. All right, look, you know how I feel about Communicore Hall, okay? You guys know how I feel about that building. Okay, but you know if you're gonna have a space, which again is gonna have millions and millions and millions upon millions of people walk on it every single day, you know, you probably shouldn't have put floor decals down. Okay, you probably really shouldn't have done that. Okay, so now now they had to fix it, okay, because people walk on it, and you know, and some guests, even though they're not supposed to, they like to pick at things and such, so it ruins everything, it ruins things. So, but I mean, but it is nice that they are fixing this problem. The building, I'm not really thrilled with that building. It's not great. You know, I think it's an awful building. Sometimes when they fill the space during their festivals, when they fill each and every space of that building, then it's fine. Okay? After the festivals, it's not great. You know, you're just walking into a Starbucks basically. But so I'm not thrilled with that space anyway to begin with, because it's garbage. It's that white plain tile. It's just not themed. It's just a Starbucks. It's just, I mean, that's what it looks like. That's what it is, basically. You know, you're walking into a Starbucks, okay? But I've gone through that whole rant as well. But it is nice that they are fixing, these decals. For what that's worth, I don't know. But, again, it is nice that they are fixing it. All right. Our next story. So this next story is probably going to bring some controversy. The Splash Mountain Brer Rabbit log decoration is now being phased out of Tiana's Bayou Adventure merchandise. So, if a lot of you have seen that merchandise, you have probably seen that there were still some Brer Rabbit references on the merchandise, but since Disney wants to distance itself from Song of the South and Splash Mountain, they're kind of now removing that element, which is, I think it's really sad. You know, you could still have references to Splash. You know, it's, you know, if you go in the queue for Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which is fantastic by the way, don't use Lightning Lane. Don't use Lightning Lane for Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Okay? Use the standby. Because when you do the standby and you walk up and you go into what used to be the barn area for Splash Mountain, they've sealed that off and now they've made it into a kitchen at the top, and it is gorgeous. It is gorgeous. I mean, there are props everywhere. I mean, you know, it's like you walked into a kitchen, okay? It's like you walked into a kitchen. There's beignets sitting there. There's eggs. There's flour. There's, you know, everything that you could imagine is sitting on that in that area, and it is gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous, okay? You know, first half of that queue it's all right. I mean, there's really nothing to tell you. You know, it's not, I mean, but, I mean, the Splash Mountain queue wasn't great anyway. So this is an improvement anyway. I do like the fact, though, that there is a car sitting in that outdoor portion of that queue, and it really looks a lot like the gangster car from the Great Movie Ride. Okay, whether it is or not, we don't know. We may never know. Okay, but it sure looks a lot like that gangster car from the Great Movie Ride. So I would love to believe that they salvaged that to put this in the queue. Whether it is or not, we don't know. We don't know. We may never know. Okay, Disney has never said anything, but in that queue, in the indoor queue, in the kitchen, there are still references to Splash Mountain. Okay, there's the riverboat there. There's a bear, a fox, and a rabbit sitting on a shelf. It's not the characters, you know, it's just, you know, regular animals. Okay, but there's a fox, a rabbit, and a bear sitting on one of the shelves, which is really thoughtful. Really thoughtful, okay? So, I mean, I know we're really not supposed to talk about, you know, Splash Mountain during, during this ride, but there was still a lot of thoughtful touches that they did, okay? Which I'm grateful for. And if we ever find out if that car is from the Great Movie Ride, I will lose my mind. Okay? I will lose my mind. I will lose it. Okay? Alright. Our next story is the Jungle Cruise is no longer offering free safari sack Ziploc bags. So you may remember that Splash Mountain used to have Ziploc bags that said "Have a zippity doo dah day," okay, and you would use those to put, you know, your glasses or, you know, whatever stuff you didn't want to get wet in these little plastic bags. You don't really need that for Jungle Cruise. Obviously, you don't get wet on Jungle Cruise. I mean, you could get a little wet going on the other side of the waterfall, but, I mean, you know, there's a vast difference between, you know, going down drops and getting wet like Tiana's Bayou Adventure or like Pirates of the Caribbean, whereas, you know, you're going by a waterfall on the Jungle Cruise and you're probably not even going to get wet. So, I don't know. Makes sense to me. You know, someone's probably going to be like, oh, you know, I missed this, but, you know, I missed the bag, blah, 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 just, you know. But, I mean, logically, you really wouldn't need that at the Jungle Cruise, okay? Forgive me while I, take a drink. So our next story is Fantasmic at Disney's Hollywood Studios adds extra showings during spring break, which this is really not new. They do this a lot of times out of the year. Spring break, summer, kind of. If you're lucky, you can see one. But spring break, summertime, fall and winter breaks they do. When it's the busy time of season, they add another show for Fantasmic because again they want everybody that's interested in seeing the show to see it. All right. So this is really not new, but it is news. So we have to report on it. Okay, but it's not new that they would add another show to Fantasmic. What would be really strange if they had 3, okay? Because they have done that. Very rare, but they have done that. They have done 3 showings of Fantasmic, which, they really don't like to do, but they have done. But it's very, very rare, very, very rare to see on the calendar 3 Fantasmic performances. All right, our next story is construction walls in Scrim have gone up at the EPCOT bus stop at EPCOT. I don't know what this really means. Maybe they could be doing maybe something happened to one of the bus areas. I don't know. Maybe they're just refurbishing it. We don't really know anything else at this point. If something did happen, though, I am glad that they're taking care of it. And if they're just refurbishing it, I'm glad that they're doing that too. All right, so that does it for the news. But my last topic I want to talk about. So I alluded to this on my last episode, but I want to remind you that I am doing a brand new show. Other than the news, I'm doing a brand new show, and it's going to be called More Disney. So that's going to be 1 day a week, and it'll be on Wednesdays. So I have I'll record the show on Tuesday, and then I'll have it out on Wednesday for you. So on that show, I'll be talking about one specific topic. Okay, so one specific topic that either I choose or that or if any of you folks want to chime in and have me talk about something, I'm more than happy to do that as well. But that'll be every Wednesday. Haven't nailed down a specific time yet, but I will be talking about it. The show will be every Wednesday. Like I said, I'm going to record it a day early. So on Tuesdays, I'll record. And then on Wednesdays, that'll be out for you to enjoy. Okay? But I have released the first episode, which was, is Disney ruining the theming to their theme parks? Okay? So you can go and enjoy that if you wish. But it's another way for me to kind of expand my channel and hopefully get more subscribers to join my channel. But please check that out. We can cover any topic that you want to discuss. I just chose the first topic because I really wanted to talk about, what Disney is doing to the theming of their theme parks. But if you guys have any suggestions, yeah, please, feel free to, send me, comment on this video, or, or if you have me on Facebook, to send me a message. But any Disney story, relating to the theme parks would be, that you feel that I should talk about, please, send me ideas, okay? So it's not just stories that I want to talk about, okay? Because a lot of people want, which is why I did a Reedy Creek story, okay? Because a lot of there was a lot of confusion about how Reedy Creek got formed, and how Disney got it and why they lost it, and stuff like that, okay? So that's why I did a story about Reedy Creek, was because people were sending me messages about, hey, I still don't understand Reedy Creek, what's the deal with Reedy Creek, and why is it the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District and everything, so that's why I did that story, okay? But this will be a more in-depth look about anything Disney. So anything Disney, we can do attractions, we can do past attractions, we can discuss, anything is fair game. Okay, anything is fair game in this new show that I've decided to come up with. So if you think of anything, please by all means, contact me, comment on this video, or whatever. But this is another way for me to kind of expand my channel, and hopefully get more content out to you, and not just get not just do the news, okay? So but the new show is probably going to be a little bit more, at times it could be a little bit more adult. It's probably going to be a little bit more of me, kind of more, ranting and raving, and using and using some curse words. So, but again, that's, I still want to, it's because this Disney is very, I'm very passionate, very, very passionate about Disney and Walt Disney World, and Disneyland, and things of that nature. So but again, if you do have any suggestions, please let me know. I'd love to hear from you. But there you are. There are your news stories for today. If you like this video, please hit that like button. Please subscribe to my channel for more content. I thank you guys very much for watching this video. You guys have a magical rest of your day. And remember that tomorrow is just a dream away.